watching AYV Television.
Welcome to Mamdi's Lounge. In this edition, we'll be looking at giving back. Our society is losing its humanity somewhat. Everything these days for a lot of people is transaction. I do something for you because I'm expecting something in return. We no longer truly care for one another. We have few exceptional cases though. Nowadays it appears if I decide to embark on some kind of humanitarian work in my community, there is a great probability that I want to go into politics. Some of us tend to think that we should always receive and never give back, be it to family, friends, or even society as a whole. Some people believe that giving is reserved for the rich. Is this true? I am Mamdi Kamara and welcome to Mamdi's Lounge. Hello and welcome to Mamdi's Lounge.
We laugh. We cry. With the tastiest guests and the best banter. All signed up by Mamdi's Lounge.
Today to talk about this all-important topic, I have two beautiful ladies here on the lounge, including my regular lounge members. So first off, I'll introduce members of the lounge. On my right is Willie James.
Hi.
On my left is Sadia Mara.
Hello.
Also, Hannah Fuller is part of the lounge, and she's right here with us today.
I'm happy to be back in the lounge.
All right. So, like I said, we have two beautiful ladies on the show today. We have Kiptiu Sise and Anita Hithington. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Kiptiu runs Heaven's Home Orphanage that caters for less privileged children, and Danita is the president and founder of Ruth International Missions, a charity that provides scholarships for young girls as well as mentor teenagers in our local communities. These ladies are giving from the heart and are not expecting anything back. Isn't that something?
It's amazing. Especially, in your intro you mentioned that Sierra Leone is like a place where everything is a transaction. It's like a business transaction, So very few people now really are in tune with their hearts, where they see the needs in their communities and want to help, and want to give back without expecting anything in return. So I really just want to doff my hat to these two ladies. I truly appreciate the efforts that they're making to just make things better for the less privileged.
All right, so I'll start with Kiptiu. Giving back, not expecting anything. So what prompted that?
I've always really shared my personal story being in Sierra Leone, growing up in Sierra Leone, and also looking at how I could be a part of what I call the build back of Sierra Leone. When I was in school here, and I think that probably still goes on, I used to remember when at the end of the term you have assemblies where those that haven't paid their fees would be called out and then they were sent home. And as a child, I think probably about 10, 11 at the time, you could feel, even though it wasn't you, you could feel the degrading effect that had on that child, and the shame which sometimes is associated with that. So after I left Sierra Leone, I honestly didn't have any intention of coming back. And but a few years down the line, I'd been away in the UK, I'd established my own career, had my own children, and just literally just living my life. And I had a vision to come back and just be a small part of something that would influence the lives of children, especially those that had no voice and those that had no other recourse to really help them down the path of their destinies or their future. So initially I decided, right, what I'll do is go back to my secondary school and sponsor some children there. But then it became very difficult to figure out, how do you choose the few within my own financial means? How do you choose a few children out of so many? So then I thought to myself, okay, we'll send a question for an essay writing competition for those that are entering secondary school newly, asking them, what would you do with 1 million leones if you had it? And then read that and see the heart of that child, whether that child has a heart to serve other people, thereby opening my heart to serve them where they were.
Excellent.
And so and then I thought to myself, okay, how do I know, how do I vet this process, making sure they've really chosen the right children to write these essays? So there was a lot of issues going on in my mind, in my heart, especially with integrity. I wanted to make sure the help really reached those that were in need.
Yeah.
So along the line, I spoke to my mother, and she said she was discussing something similar with me, saying, oh, she wants to start a children's foundation, etc. And then I said to her, I said, you know what, to be honest with you, that's something I've been looking at. That's something I've really felt that I could be a part of, because I left here without my parents, so I know what it's like to be a child that's on your own. So then I said to her, I'm going to look at starting a children's home. And she said, oh, but I have land that I could, give you. And I said, okay then. So it just happened in such a split second between me expressing a desire to do something and the help that I needed coming right there and then. So that was the one part. But then making the decision to do something is only a step. Actually doing it is something totally different, because for having decided to do that, I was totally gripped with fear, because I hadn't been to Sierra Leone for over 25, 26 years. I've lived all my adult life, most of my teenage life outside of Sierra Leone. I didn't understand the culture anymore. I didn't understand the people. I didn't know what was here. I didn't know what to expect. So then I contacted a missions department at Elim International, just asking, because they normally have missionaries stationed in all different parts of Africa and in the world. So just trying to find out what's going on and how best to return. So they paired me up with the last missionary that was in Sierra Leone. She was here for about 5 years. And so we decided to come back to Sierra Leone in 2010.
All right, if you stop you right there, I'll come back to you. Let me ask Anita the same question. So, what motivated you?
Well, it's so funny. This when she's talking, I just can totally relate to her story as well. I grew up here as well, and now I'm in the U.S. And well, I learned from my mother that you have to give out of nothing. Because my mother is a widow. My father died when I was 5 years old, and she raised 3 of us. And she had little education. So I can see the struggles that she went through. But she was able to give people. I can see where she would cook on Saturdays like this. And she would have dishes lined up for everybody. And I said, Mom, why? We don't have. You better save that so we can have it. But she said, I have to give out of nothing. That's when I get my blessings. So when I was in the U.S. and it came into my heart to give back, and I was like, I have to wait till I'm richer. I can't do this right now. I don't have much. I'm not going to do it. But I'm a woman of faith too, and God just kept pressing it in my heart. You got to give back because somebody gave to you. So I started sending things. I'll just collect used clothing and food, and I'll send it, and I'll ask my friend here, just give it to anybody that you see that needs something. And we did that for a couple of years. Then, but the thing was in my heart that I'm not doing the right thing. I was wrestling with something. So I decided to just structure it a little more, where I can target people who are really in need. And I wanted to do women and girls because I feel that women are the most vulnerable in society. So I wanted to do the girl child. And so this was 2011. And I also wanted to help the younger women who are educated, recent graduates from college with no jobs. Because they're also vulnerable. Prostitution, you need an income. So I wanted to incorporate the girls and the young women. So I decided to find some. Now we have 3 of them that does the legwork for us, and then we have 21 young girls in school, and we pay their school fees, buy their the books, and also uniform. And now we're doing, every month we give them staple provisions every month to sustain them because the need is there. And so as I did that, it was a struggle. It's hard. I have a job. I have my family. I have bills. I'm a single mom. Like, why? Can I just wait till I'm just like a billionaire that I can do this stuff? So I prayed to God. I struggled. I want to stop, God. This is too hard. I said, tell me why this is in my heart. And so, and when you ask God for something, He will show you. So the next morning I woke up and I realized why I was doing it. When I was growing up, my mother used to take us to the Catholic Church in Savage Street, and they used to give us books. Every end of the new school year, you would take your old books and they would give you new ones. And then they would stamp all over it. So I would be so embarrassed in school. I'd cover it up. I don't want everybody to know I'm this poor. I'm getting donations. Those books helped me to go to college, to have my degree, and to keep going, and to become what I am. You know, I'm not everything, but I was so poor that now I can sustain myself. Yes. It makes me cry every time I talk about it.
You both made me tear up. Very emotional.
I know, look at it. Everybody.
I know. It's really, and when I see the girls now, I see myself in every single one of them. So one of my hashtags is I am her, because I am her. And the last year I was there in that organization, they showed me the picture of the man and woman that donates the books to us. They're an old white couple from Holland. They don't know me at all. They never got to meet me. I never got to meet them. But out of their income, they sent for me. So I'm where I was today.
Oh my God, this is so sorry. I feel like we're having a church service. I have to come in because so I wasn't particularly excited for this segment. Let me be honest. I'm like, what are we going to talk about? And then when you started talking, both of you resonated with me. Because basically what I do, I can identify with the stories. I come from a very humble background.
Same here.
And obviously it took a lot of people to help me for me to be where I am. I got a scholarship. So I think since I finished high school, my parents finished high school here. My parents, I've never had to worry about paying my fees. They never had to worry about paying airfare or any of that. I was on full scholarship. And then I came back in 2013. And basically my life has been about giving back. And I think I was at the point where I was thinking of quitting. So being honest now, because we had the career talk today, and there are times when you feel like, I should be making so much money.
Yes.
I could be doing this, and I have those moments a lot. So when you were talking, it reminded me of why I do what I do, because it's not about the money. It's not about the money.
It's not about the money, yeah.
Yes, we all need some tissues.
So thank you for sharing your story, but most importantly, thank you for answering the call. Because I mean, God calls a lot of people, but it's a choice you make to answer or not. And even when you do say yes, doesn't mean there aren't challenges, and you keep questioning yourself. Like it's this constant thing, and I like something you said about I'm a makeup. It's a good idea, and just being. I think there's this peace and joy that comes with being when you know you're in God's will. So it makes you wonder about. I'm sorry, Mamdi. How do you measure success? I think that's what when you talk about giving back, it brings you back to that. Is it about how much money you have in your account? Is it the joy, the fulfillment you get? And most of what we do now, you don't even see you won't see the impact now. But maybe 10 years down the line, and years later, now you're thinking what it was like getting books from Catholic school. Like they were just giving a bunch of kids. Now see how much you're impacting lives. And I think years from now we'll see why God led us down this path. So thank you. And thank you, Mamdi, and thank you for having this conversation.
It's so interesting because I actually have a foundation. I always think that, God does not want me into journalism. Those are the thoughts I have, that I should be into humanitarian work and missions and humanitarian work. Hearing you guys speak, it's like we are all in the same boat. And when you have an environment of givers, you notice that there is development. Because if the people who donated those books, if they had not donated it, you wouldn't have been here. Maybe you would have dropped out of school.
Absolutely.
So when Anna was talking about Sierra Leone becoming business-like, we want to pay people now for everything they do. They ask you for sort of humiliation. Yes, we know there is poverty, but we have to make room for giving. Because we don't want to lose that compassion has to be there. Because if the compassion goes away, then it turns you into a zombie or something.
I think it's like we lose our humanity, our soul as a people. And if we're not able to empathize with the less fortunate, then it means that we've kind of disconnected ourselves. And honestly, I didn't think. But then I think it shows that this is something close to all of our hearts, really. When you are in tune with your community, with what is around you, then I believe you yourself as a human being would feel some sense of fulfillment, and unfortunately for us, giving is not so easy because from your stories, you deprive yourself, you have your own issues to deal with. You have your kids, your extended family, you have your own needs as an individual, and then Kippy here has 40-something odd orphans, Ebola orphans to take care of. She feeds them every day, clothes them. These are kids who were abandoned by their own parents. Danita is in the States, but she's here taking of her 21 girls that she's paying fees for.
23 now.
Okay, 23.
I was going to ask both of you, so how has it been? Because clearly the challenges are there and they will always be there. Having, for example, Kippy, you're working with 40 kids and she's working with 23. And you guys you have your own, like she said, you have all your own challenges or things to deal with. How has it been?
I tell you what, just going back to what you said and encouraging you, it's not an easy road. Every year I want to give up. But every year I am reminded of why I chose it. And every year when it gets to that dark place, something happens.
Yes.
A miracle happens. This year, Hannah turned up. Literally. And I said to you on the phone that actually, maybe I don't sound excited on the phone. That's because I'm in shock. Because sometimes you feel the burden of what you've taken on. Because our children we have are not, firstly, they're not up for adoption. That's why we just to input on something you said, just to buttress that, we don't call ourselves an orphanage, we are home. Because as long as our Father in heaven remains, you have a parent. You are not an orphan. Maybe your situation that you went through caused you to lose those biological parents that you had. But our God in heaven's always there.
Absolutely. So we have a church.
Absolutely. So that's why I always insist. I said the day we change the narrative of saying it's an orphanage. I'm a probation officer by profession. So I know what stigmatization and labeling can do to young people. You know, that self-fulfilling prophecy. But once they understand that this is your family, no one's going to kick you out at 18. You're here, and you're here for life by choice. And we refuse. We've had difficulties when we've made conscious decisions not to chase the money, because the money is allocated for this type of project. But we know we're not called to do this. We're not called to do that. I admire you, Denise, for example. You was very specific, saying you're called and you felt called to the girl child. I'm not. So if I create a girl child project, and I say this in open, in public, if I created a girl child project now, I know I'm walking outside of the will of God. Because I also have a passion to understand that this girl child will marry a boy child. And if I don't invest in that boy child and just focus on that girl child, what home am I creating?
All right, guys, there's a lot of...
Oh my God.
Okay, so we'll be right back. This is Mamdi's Lounge coming to you from AYV Television. Today we are at Radisson Blue for this particular session. And it's getting really emotional here. We'll be right back after this break.
Hello and welcome to Mamdi's Lounge. Program seeks to address issues that are affecting society. What's your take on domestic violence? So I was going to come. Why should you be content? You have some men. All right. Okay. All right. All right. The money.
Welcome back. This is Mamdi's Lounge coming to you on AYV Television. Today we're talking about giving back. And if you're just joining us, we have two beautiful ladies. And she is Kiptiu Sisi. Kiptiu actually runs Heaven Homes. And she's been doing a remarkable job with kids. And she's been talking to us about her journey thus far. And we have also Danita Hithington. She also is doing... some work with girls, and she also has taken us through some of what she's done, and we will continue with the conversation right now. It's you. I wanted to ask the question, whether the kids that you're dealing with, are they only girls?
We have boys and we have girls. The entry point into our homes is any age between 0 and 18.
So how do you get these kids?
Right, okay. The first thing that I was purposed not to do is take any direct entry. Because when I came to Sierra Leone in 2011 for a visit, there was a huge scandal about child trafficking. And my background in child safeguarding and child protection instantly sends alarm bells that no matter how destitute the child is, they have to go through a legal process. And the legal process, as far as I'm concerned, in Sierra Leone, is via the Ministry of Social Welfare and Gender and Children's Affairs. And also, there's a delegated unit of that same sort at your local communities, in the local communities or districts. So what happens with us, say for example, if I get a phone call from a hospital saying there's a vulnerable child here, this child's been left, I instantly say to them, right, okay, this is the named social worker for our area that we work in. Contact them, let them go do an assessment. I will go with him or her, and I'll also do an assessment to see whether that child meets our criteria. And when the assessment's done, then we go through all the legal paperwork where there's a transfer of guardianship from whoever the guardian was that admitted the child to Heaven Homes.
Danita, so, and you, how do you get your kids? I mean, you're not dealing with kids per se.
Yes.
But how do you get in touch with...
So before I answer the question, I want to do the girl child thing, because I am all for the women and girls. I started this 2011, and basically the analogy I give is the girl or the woman is the backbone of society. Imagine if you have a backache, you can't do anything. The man is the head, but we are the backbones because we give birth to the children, we maintain the home, and we take care of everything else. So the backbone has to be strong. So I want to strengthen the child, the girl child, so that she can take care of the society. Because if we are strong as women, everything falls into place. So to answer your question, Hannah Fuller here is one of my agents in town. She has an eye, and she just looks around and finds people, find the girls who are in desperate needs, find the families, and she refer them to me. And I have my interns, as I call them, the young women who college graduates, who will go and interview the family and the girl and send me the feed. And then I will assess it and then reach back and say, yeah, this is it. So basically we look for impoverished girls, somebody who is really in need. And then we look for the educational agility. They want to learn, they want to achieve something. Because you don't want to put money where the person doesn't even care.
In a black hole, right?
Exactly. So you want to make sure they have some kind of drive to succeed. And you can tell, even at 5 years old, you can tell who wants to learn or not. So we look for if they're impoverished and also if they have a willingness and want to learn and want to do something. And then we look for opportunities.
I know you both said something about, getting the desire to give because of the homes or the backgrounds that you guys are coming from. But there's this belief that you don't give what you don't have. So you guys, people, maybe somebody watching you might say, these guys are rich.
Here we are. Because our father owns
you know what I mean, right?
1,000 hills, so we're absolutely rich, super rich. I'll tell you something, I have a lot of friends and colleagues who say, well, I admire what you're doing and I really want to do this when God blesses me. I hear that a lot. And what I'll say to anyone who has that mentality or has that desire to wait till they're blessed before they can be a blessing is that it's never going to happen. I always say if it was just me by myself, I would never do what I'm doing. Because inherently we are selfish beings. And I was just sharing with Hannah saying, the amount of effort, time, finances that has been poured into our project, I just sit down, dream if I poured that into my own personal pocket. It's true.
I'll come back to you. Just
point?
hold it right there. I'll let you answer the question about you being rich. That's why you're doing what you do.
Okay, I'm a single mom, first of all. We're never rich. In America, you're never rich. I have 3 kids. But I relate to the story of the widow's mite. That's profound for me. So whenever you look at Jesus telling the story about when you give, when you don't have anything, it's when you're blessed. As you wait to have a lot, you will never get there. And God will not bless you if you give out of your abundance, because you basically just give in leftovers. But when you open your heart, and even if you don't have, because in my case, I don't give most of my income to the foundation. At some point in time, I have to use my own personal funds when things are low and we need it. But It's when you reach out to other people, engage the community, which is a challenge for me because Sierra Leoneans overseas don't believe in that giving either, unfortunately.
I would have thought, them being in the United States, they say the land where there's milk
And honey.
they would be willing to give.
Most of my givers are not Sierra Leoneans.
Same here.
My givers from Sierra Leonean givers are like 5% or less of my giving, of my funding. They don't give at all. They don't attend your events. It's really, and that's another thing why I wanted to stop, because I was like, do they not see that we need this? They're looking at you like, you are idle. I have a fashion show, I have a fundraiser, nobody shows up. You tell them, you beg them to come. It's the other nationalities, the other people that are giving to Sierra Leone. So I don't wait for my own because I don't have a lot. I can't do it by myself. So I try to get my community, my local community, my church, just everybody I could. I just open the door for everybody to donate and encourage them that when you give, it shall be given back to you.
Absolutely.
Yes, this,
So
can I?
All right. So
Well, let me go.
Williams, you first.
Okay.
Yes.
Williams first.
I am the umpire.
Yes.
It's already going.
It's already going. I'm on my edge. Sit down. Sit
Should be
down.
very reflective. So now she wants to share this reflection.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to make 2 points. Giving, the quality of giving. Because, you'll find out that most times people want to give and they would rather give what they don't want.
So that's what she said, the leftovers, right?
So yes, they would rather give what they don't want. So, and then other times you find out that people want to give and they don't know how to give. I think knowing how to give will lead you to understanding the person you're giving to. Because there are times you just waste. You don't actually give. Because people are in want. A lot of people want. We all want. Every day we want things. But you have those who are in need. So how do you differentiate those who want and those who really are in need? So there are some of these things we have to consider when we're giving. Because, it helps that little child or that little girl watching us over there, who has this desire to give, this compassion when you see somebody out there, as you see somebody is in need, you want to give, you want to do. I face the same thing. At times I see people, I give, and at the end of the day I don't have enough money in my hand. So how do you,
How do you distinguish
distinguish them?
What's the question again?
Those who are in need.
Those who are in
and
need
those who want.
and those who want. Yeah.
Right.
and just adding to what she's saying, that some people actually just want to exploit you. And so some people become, I don't know, if the right word, and question people who come to them. And so they tend to be more cautious about giving.
Okay. Need and want. I think this might sound over spiritual, but sometimes you just need to be led. Even when somebody comes with you with a seemingly church, religion led need, want, you really just need to be led and not just jump emotionally into giving, because you need to ask yourself, who feels better when you give? You give so I don't give today, and my dad used to say, goat self they sweat, but because you get boku ear, you need a notice. So we also have those needs that we pray about, but they never seem to be met, and we accept. So I just look at people who approach me as I would myself. And honestly, there was a time when I feel that in terms of people asking for help, I have to be really critical. I watched your show about career development, and it really talks about some people who are just simply lazy. They see where you are, they don't have a clue that you don't sleep till 4 in the morning.
The work, yeah.
And they want to be where you are. You can easily pick them up. You easily know. So I try to be led by the Spirit, and if I don't feel it, I am sorry.
Well, it's part of being content also, yourself. So even when I give, or when you give, expecting nothing back is a big thing. And then don't expect the person to do what you want them to do, what you give them. So you always feel like, that man, they really, really crazy, or really poor, or just want to drink the money. It's not for you to decide what she does with it. You've done your part, and it's over. So we tend to want to analyze before you give. Am I being scammed here? You know, and yes, you've got to just give out of the abundance of your heart, and don't put the other pressure. That's not for you. You're giving for God. You're not giving for yourself. So you don't care what they do with it, and you're content where you are. So like you said, oh, I give, and then I don't have anything in return. So that's where your trust and your faith comes in. Because he might not give you back financially, but just keeping you safe is his giving back to you. So financially, we have to stop looking at giving as just financial. It's a whole lot that you're getting back. It might not be financial. Your work, everything. So that's how that's how I'm able to give. I give, then I look at how God blesses my children, keep them safe on the road, and it does so much for me. I don't need him to make my bank account bigger. He will, I love it if he does. But that's not why I'm giving. I'm giving because he's making me content where I'm at. I might not have it all. I might not pay my rent on time. But that peace, I'll give everything for that peace. That's all I need.
And I think that's where we have a problem also. Many times in our society we've seen people start to do things, acts of charity in their communities. And then maybe 1 year down the line you hear that he wants to be a member of parliament. And so, so now over time, people have become very skeptical about acts of kindness. Because there's always something attached to it. So this is why when you do come across the rare gems like you two, it's so refreshing and it touches the heart.
I was gonna take that one.
But you are a giver too. The fact that you can
She's giving to the givers.
Okay, so Sadia wanted to something. Let's just give a quick chance to do that.
I'm just going to what Hannah just said, because one thing that Hannah doesn't know is obviously I started this in 2010, so it's been 8 years. It feels like yesterday. Every day feels like we just started. And then last year, I'm somebody who's very politics averse because of exactly what you just said. Personally, it didn't yield much fruits from my childhood. All I saw was my parents giving. No, seriously. So it ended up being something I couldn't stand at all because I saw it as a way of people fleecing you. But then last election, I got moved to and I thought no, and I didn't understand why. And with time, obviously I'm not an MP now because of this dual citizenship that came up. But I'll tell you something. I got so incensed with the fact that I was being made to choose between where my heart is and where my body was, that I gave up my citizenship in the other country. Because Sierra Leone is a place I know I was called to be. And everything that comes through life, you always have to go back to the drawing board and to the author and finisher of your faith as to why. God has this mysterious way of using the things that I don't like or the things that he knows naturally I'll say no to humble me. However, through that experience, the number of doors that have been opened to flourish what I do in ministry is unbelievable. You see what I mean? People think I'm crazy. They gonna give up people. They want people that will kill, forget. But that's up to them. Maybe they've not been called like I've been called. You know, Abraham was asked to sacrifice his only son. He didn't hold him back. Do you see what I'm saying? If this was my Isaac, so be it. The things you hold most precious to you, normally, sometimes, are those same things that God would call you up to give up.
I'm
sorry.
You're pushing to me this morning, this afternoon, and I like it. Thank you. So let's talk social media, because now when you do whatever you do, people need to know what you're doing. There's this pressure. So there's one hand, you need to let people know. The more people you know, the more funding. There's that. And then there's, on the other hand, you have to think about the people you're dealing with. These are people. So I'm one person who is opposed to taking photographs and sharing on social media when you do an act of kindness. You know, so you go and donate food to... So we had this, so as part of what we do, one of my organization, we donated items to moms at Aberdeen Women's Center. And we said, we're not going to post on social media, because I mean, somebody went there to give birth, and they didn't know you were coming. You didn't plan the meeting. You went there to distribute items, and then now you want to take pictures and then circulate on social media. For me, I think of it in terms of their dignity.
Yes.
So would I want, if the tables were turned, I want that. I mean, when we were talking earlier, you said when you went to school, you used to cover the books so people wouldn't know it was charity, right? So how do you handle that? Like, how do you balance that? Getting, letting people know what you're doing, but also thinking about the dignity of the people that you work with. Strike a balance.
You can strike a balance. I think motive is important. Is it a matter of, when I look what they do, see me, or look at what we can achieve if you're just like X, Y, and Z. You mentioned fundraising, and social media nowadays is one of the biggest vehicles to fundraise. I've never fundraised outside of Sierra Leone, but when I've tried, it's never been successful. Like Danita, I think you mentioned, Sierra Leoneans overseas don't give. Right? No.
I think they don't give sometimes because they're
suspicious.
Yes.
They're skeptical.
Yes.
If you ask them to volunteer, the first question is that you pay for me ticket.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, I have people who are non-Sierra Leoneans that fund you met them, they fund their own trips to come to Sierra Leone to give back to my people. You know? And so when
I think in their defense though, if you're overseas, you probably have like 50 people you're taking care of. So you're thinking, we're waiting for people take care of all the people and maybe you know, people are there see our family so all these people, I mean it's nice, but maybe somebody else can do that. I think
well, I'll tell you what.
So quickly before you continue, let me just remind our viewers that you're watching Mamdi's Lounge, and today we're talking about giving back. And we have in the studios my lovely ladies, Williet, Sadia, Danita, Sabtiu, and then Hannah. We're all here talking. Keep to you. Yes. Keep to you and Hannah, and we're at Radisson having this all important conversation about giving back. And these ladies have been doing a fantastic job in giving back to helping, people who really needs it. You've been doing so well on your own. But what are the challenges? What do you think? What sort of help? What do you think needs to be done so that you can impact more people with what you do? So I'll start with Anita.
Okay. So the reason why I came this time really is to get the community of Sierra Leone involved, because I'm doing it in the US and nobody here really knows about it. And here is where it benefits really, most of it. So I came back to look at the offices, the EcoBank, for example. I'm trying to get them to help, just to be aware that there's an organization here that needs funding, they need your support, the government to support us, so that we can be a team. Because I believe this is going to get bigger. Because my interns, the young ladies that take care of the stuff here, told me there's another layer of girls, another level that I haven't even gone below yet. There are people, girls, living in more poverty than the ones we're really working with. So we need to go one step down. And to go one step down, we need a whole lot of support. And I cannot say I've been doing it by myself, because that's not true. I have a team. I have a board of directors over there that helps me, promote me and everything. I have Hannah that looks around for me, make sure everything is in place. And I have my girls. So engaging other people here is why I'm here. And I'm so thankful that I have this platform here just in time just to talk about it. And we need the people abroad to know that this is legitimate. This is really stuff we all have to contribute to make Sierra Leone a better place. So
Yes.
I'm happy you chose to come to Sierra Leone at this time to do exactly that, because 3 years ago I decided to make that same journey.
Oh, not to stay.
No, not to stay.
I'm not there yet.
Not to stay, but to actually touch the hearts, or look for those hearts that are specially prepared to be those that would help us.
Yes.
To help those that we're looking after. And I have such a firm belief that Sierra Leone can look after its own. I'm just such a firm believer in that.
I believe that too.
And my biggest fundraising, or the only one I've ever done, has been in Sierra Leone, actually here at the Radisson.
Wow.
And this was 3 years ago, called Build Back Salome. And that's when we had people start to know about us, that this is what we're doing. When I initially came to Sierra Leone 2 years ago, 2 years and 3 months ago, you get very specific when you're newy, and then you forget. I worked at a school, but then everything your hand finds doing, do it as if unto the Lord. Because therein He will open doors. I met so many people, so many parents, and believe it or not, I didn't openly share what I was doing, but somehow they found out, that one found out, told that one, and then it just blew up into a different, everybody knew. And people really wanted to help. You have people collecting not what they don't want, but things that would be useful to our children, and donating that. You have parents who are having functions just to donate.
Wow.
So I feel that Sierra Leone, I'm not saying forget the diaspora.
Oh,
I like what you say.
But I'm saying, home is where it's at. So
All right. So in wrapping up, ladies, I'll start with you, Hannah.
There's so much we haven't even,
Yes.
but there
Surface
is so
of
much
this, yeah.
on several fronts. One, publicizing what you do. One, it has to do with other people giving. There's credibility issues, integrity issues. You need to let them know that whatever you gave, we did this with.
Yeah.
And number two, Keep2 is making us feel that there is hope in this scale of giving.
Yeah.
And I do believe that as well, because personally, I don't want to advertise my institution, but I work for an institution that has a heart. And I do remember a few years
Advertise will pay.
where we felt we needed to say thank you to Mercy Ships for giving back or treating Sierra Leonean people for free, not paying. So we organized a fundraiser on the ship, and we got all our high-end clients to attend, and we did an auction. We raised over $30,000 for Mercy Ships, and I felt good. United for Humanity, Haiti, they had the was it a hurricane or something?
Hurricane, yeah.
We did a concert Haiti is so many thousands of miles away, but we felt connected because everybody could go through disaster. In Sierra Leone, we had war, but other people came to our rescue. We did a concert called All the Musicians. Most of them, they like money, but then we told them, you see this on the news, but we're connected because we all feel their pain, so please donate your gift by singing. And it was just a boutique affair, but we got what? An echo? Oh, okay. They agreed. My institution agreed to do the bank transfer for free without the charges. But we were able to raise at least $10,000. So I think the more people realize that when you give, you will get back in a different way. It could be your kids, the blessing, whatever happens, the safety, the security that they get, is from sometimes what you do. And I'm really happy to know you both.
Thank you, Hannah. Sadia, before I come to you guys,
I'm speechless. I'm just, it doesn't happen often, but I'm just so happy that we had this conversation. So thank you for coming.
Well, actually, I would say giving is something that we have to practice. Get one pastor, or get one pastor, Pastor Matthew, in teaching me, say, anytime when you get your money, your salary, when once you've taken your tithe and you've taken your offering, you have to give someone something out of that money. Right. So you don't just get your salary and don't give anybody anything. You must give. So that was how I started giving, learning to give. So if you out there, if you could also do the same, if you get one plate rice, you go for most times of them, they're not all food, not all money, but maybe like your ideas. Yeah. Maybe there are times when we're in college and you're a student and you have friends and they want to read your books. They want you to share ideas on a particular topic. Most times, some people they hold back. Not say when you share, now that's when you learn more. So let's learn to give. It's not, and there are some other people who forgot to talk about that. When they are stressed, that's when they give. Really? When you're stressed, yes, I don't see people like that. You're stressed, and you're so stressed, you just start giving. Do not wait until you're stressed. Give. Learn to give. Small you do. God bless you.
Anissa?
Yeah, so like I said, out of nothingness is when you give. I learned from my mother. She had nothing, but she couldn't stop giving. So that has made me a giver, and I hope that we all can give and don't wait for financial blessings. It comes in many different ways. So please, let's give so we can build a stronger society.
Yes, Kibu.
I'm not sure I can add anything. But, it's they say, Saluna, we all you. If we don't do it,
who else will? All right, so there you have it. I would like to just add that giving is not all about money. You can give your time, you can give your talent. So you don't have to wait until you have a bag full of money for you to give. And there's never a wrong or a bad time to give. Yes. It's always good to give because no matter how small, it'll make a difference in the life of others. So I would say if you are there, you're one of those people who think that there has to be something, so you have to get something from somebody before you give, I want you to have a rethink. You can give and I'm sure you will never go wrong because there's always a blessing in giving. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for being part of the show. Until next time when we come your way, it's been Mamdi's Lounge. I am Mamdi Gube Kamara.